Morning, everybody. Got Joe Paddock here and Ryan Butcher, and Techie Dad is here. So, I literally just got home from work a few hours ago. My normal 1 hour drive home turned into a 3.5 hour drive home last night. A semi wreck had the interstate nearly shut down on my drive home, so it took me a long time to get home, and then time I unwound from forcing myself to stay awake through all that sitting in traffic, I didn't go to sleep right away. So I got like 2.5 hours sleep. Morning, Mike. So I'm hurting a little bit right now. So I'm doing the best I can this morning. But I was like, it's stream day. I got to do it. So I don't know how long it's going to be of a stream. It's probably not going to be a long one because I can't hardly function. And good morning, Mike times two. Yeah, there's probably a nap immediately after this. Because it was all I could do to get my butt in here this morning. I and then I went to make myself a cup of coffee, and we don't have any milk, we don't have any creamer, we don't have so it's black coffee this morning. Because coffee is going to be necessary to get through this. Mike times three. Yeah. So literally like half my viewership right now is named Mike. And it's not that I can't do black coffee, but I don't prefer black coffee. I can drink it. It's not my preference. And especially because I hit the strong button on the Keurig before I hit start, which is usually how I prefer it. But then I put a little cream and sugar in it. But I wasn't going to put sugar in it if I wasn't going to put cream in it. So now I have strong black coffee. Right? Yeah, yeah. I need to. I need to like come up with something that y'all can like buzz me if I fall asleep or something, or give somebody my phone number to call me if I fall asleep on stream. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, I have extremely strong black coffee this morning, and it's very hot. It's very hot because creamer usually cools it down a little bit. Oh, what are we doing this morning? I don't know. Somebody tell me. All right. I guess I'll start with opening Blender. I know we talked about a potential commission I have coming up, and things are moving along on that front. I think it's going to come to pass. So I've been playing around with some stuff. The jet. That's what we were going with. The jet. But we didn't want that anymore. Tell it to shock me. Yeah. You guys have too much fun with that. You'd be shocking me and I'd be wide awake. I'd be like, stop it. Quit. No. All right. Screen share. Screen share. There we go. So this was where we left off. Was it last week? It's all running together now. And I decided I hated, which these are just mock-up wheels by the way. It's not going to just be cylinders. These are just placeholders while I measure some stuff out. And I'd really like to keep the wheels a little closer to the body, to the fuselage. So they may have to be repositioned yet. and I don't have the brain function to work on landing gear today. So matter of fact, I don't know if I have the brain function, because I think that's the next thing I have to do. I think it's the absolute next thing I have to do. I don't know. We can work on, maybe we'll work on fine tuning the canopy this morning, because that still needs to be done. What happened to my chat? Where'd it go? There it is. And when the coffee runs out, I have imitation Dr. Pepper. It's not Dr. Pepper. Can't afford the real stuff. No, I'm kidding. We buy the knockoff stuff because my son goes through it too fast. Soda has gotten expensive. Anybody else notice that? I remember not that many years ago buying 12 packs of soda for like $3. Now they're like $5. Morning, D. All right, let's see here. I think the problem that I have with the canopy it might help if I tabbed into edit mode, is I need to delete these vertices. And then I need to make my hinge back here. Good morning, Vince. Oh. So delete that, and then I need to make a flat thing there. My brain is not working this morning. Before any of you smart Alex say it, usually it does work a little better than it does today. I'm not saying it's rocket scientist level or anything, because it's not. All right. And there's a fly in here. The thing I don't like about 2 liters is they go flat. They go flat too fast. Well, mainly because my son doesn't put the top back on tight enough. And no, I don't have screencast keys on. It's editor, run script, 3D view, start display. There we are. So yeah, the tractor trailer accident last night looked horrific. I have my doubts that anybody survived it. My prayers are, of course, with the driver. It looked like a single vehicle accident, though. It looked like he just ran off the interstate into the median and then hit a big tree head on. They had drugged the semi up out of the median by the time I got past it, and the whole front fascia was gone. You could see the engine block, and the front wheels were gone. It did not look like something that people walk away from. Hopefully I'm wrong. Well, and the thing is, when the accident happened, I was on my way to work, and it was like completely shut down at that point. Um, I was on my way to work, and as I was driving the other way, there were it had been stopped for so long. There were people out walking around outside their cars. I saw a guy sitting on the roof of his SUV. So it had been stopped up for a while. And then on the drive home, I didn't even think to map it and see if it was still going on. Because I thought 8 hours later, what kind of wreck wouldn't be cleared 8 hours later? And so I'm driving home, and I'm on the interstate, and TDOT, in their infinite lack of wisdom, puts the sign up that be prepared to stop, accident ahead. They put that sign 1 mile past the exit that I could have gotten off of. They put that sign 1 mile past the exit, and there's not another exit for 7 or 8 miles. There's not another exit for 8 miles. So you would think, if you were planning a little bit, you'd put that sign like a mile before exit 19 to say there's an accident ahead. Use alternate route, because then we all would have jumped off at the exit, and it wouldn't have taken me 3.5 hours to get home. It would have taken me an hour and a half, maybe. So yeah, things like that just don't make sense to me. I think it was closed as long as it was, because it took them that long to dig the semi out of all the trees in the median. And they probably were like I was. What the heck happened? How did? But yeah, I didn't stop to think for a second that would still be going on 8 hours later. Because I would have thought that would have required one heck of a mess, but I guess they did have one heck of a mess on their hands. And it looked like, I would say the trailer would have had to have been carrying weight, because the trailer was U-shaped. So he hit with enough force to totally smash the front end of the truck, and then the weight of the trailer bent the trailer up. So he also had been going pretty fast at the time of impact. It said doesn't bode well for the likelihood that and I watched a little bit of the news this morning figuring they'd say something about it. They didn't say anything. Nothing. Instead, they thought they had other more important stories to talk about, I guess. Did a big story about the border wall this morning. I'm like, rather hear a story about the accident that had the interstate jacked up yesterday. Let's see here. How do I want to do this? I told you my brain's not functioning this morning. Which looks like we've got flip normals. There we go. Edges. That one's backwards too. What the heck? All right. I'm just having a heck of a time this morning. I guess it's my brain's still not cooperating with me. That and these vertices are all messed up. So, fixing it little by little. So, what's everybody else got going? Anybody got any cool projects in the works? Let's hide the fuselage for a minute. Router, cool. Some stuff for your D&D board. Yeah, where he ran off the road, there were no barriers or anything. He just took out trees in the median. A bunch of them. Until he ran into the big one that stopped him. 8 inches round. Wow. It'll be huge on the tabletop. Now, will it ring cut? It will. So all that was just trying to ring cut that. Hey, Mike, we got another mic. So we're up to 4 mics. 4 mics this morning. So many mics in the 3D printing community, and lots of Rons and Joes, and then you have a Joe mic that's a Joe and a Mike. He's simultaneously Joe and Mike. I'm doing okay. Very tired, but okay. How about yourself, Mike? Joe Paddock is Joe Mike too? Oh no. It's spreading. Joes and Mikes are taking over the world, and they're starting with the 3D printing community. Just having a heck of a time trying to figure out what kind of transition to do here. Could be because my brain is still not functioning at full capacity. bunch of stuff going on Discord, apparently, because I'm getting the Discord noises. That doesn't look bad. I was looking at the getting some inspiration off of the G.I. Joe plane that Shom sent me a few months back. And wondering if I shouldn't take the easy way out like they did with their landing gear. Their landing gear doesn't have any doors to cover it up or anything. It's just visible completely from the underside. And I'm like, that would be the easy way out. Because then all I'd have to do is hinge it and slap it up in there. But I've never been one to take the easy way out. Even when it's advisable, I don't take the easy way out. Yeah, it looks okay from that angle, but it looks like crap from this angle, so let's see. No, I didn't, and that's because I've decided to build one, and then that leads to more time consuming things, sourcing parts, and I gotta start ordering some parts. The thing that I'm hesitating on is next month. AMD's due to put out their 3rd gen Ryzens, so I don't want to go through the expense of building a computer and then figure out that I could have either built the same computer much cheaper a month later, because then when the 3rd gen Ryzens come out, all the like 2nd and 1st gen Ryzens will take a price drop. Morning, Walter. So yeah, here in like not even a month and a half, the 3rd gen Ryzens will due out, and so then the 2nd and 1st gen Ryzens will take another price drop, including the Threadrippers. So, I was thinking about building a 1st gen Threadripper. Well, the price should drop in a month. So I've made it this long. If I can just hold out another month, it could save me, a couple $100. Or if I find that the 3rd gen Ryzens are affordable, I'll just build one of those. So yeah, I know there's some ifs involved there. So that's been my big holdup is seeing. I was looking at parts, and when I was looking at processors, all the news was like middle of June, third gen Ryzen's, and talking about the third gen, like, base model Ryzen's are going to be um, even the base model Ryzen's are going to have so many more cores and threads and faster cores. 24 terabyte storage unit. Wow, that's a lot of storage. Morning, Scalda. Or I guess uh, math's failing me right now. Evening, where you're at. Oh. All right. Well, the coffee, as disgusting as it was, is gone. Now for some Dr. Topper. After drinking some strong black coffee, that tastes extremely sweet. Sweeter than usual. All right. Rename that to what that is going to be. Hide it for right now. Hide that. Hide that. So what I'm doing there is flipping the normals. You can see the areas that need the normals flipped because they're darker than they should be. Like if you're the dots you see for the faces, if you get them at a certain angle, if it turns black and they disappear, then that means that face is inside out. And how you fix that is by flipping the normals. So now you can see now that I flipped the normals, no matter what angle I turn that at, it doesn't turn black and disappear. Alright, like these. See at the wrong angle how that just completely turns black and you can't see the dots in the middle of the faces anymore? That means those two faces are inside out. And I haven't tried printing something with the normals inverted to see if it affects slicing something at all. I don't think it does, but it certainly makes it harder to see what you're doing when you're modeling. Morning, Don. Alright, just for scale purposes, right now I need to bring in a seat that I know fits a character. Which the seats in the jet cockpit are going to be a little narrower than the seats in the Jeep, but it gives me an idea of height and length and things like that of the seat that is going to be necessary. So I'm going to grab the seats from the Jeep for right now. Open the jet. Tab out of that. Piece of seats in there. Yeah, like I said, just for scaling purposes. Why is it so far off center? Oh, I guess because when I scaled it, I don't know. Am I going to have room to maybe? I might actually. Yeah, the Jet will get its own seats. It's just trying to make sure everything's going to line up okay. And that should be fine, because then that wheel comes up, it'll be back here. Okay. So it'll be in behind the seat back here when the wheel folds up. Yeah, Don, everything's good. Just working, and things are getting hot and heavy down on Broadway. So, which is good. It's good. We had a huge crowd last night. Alrighty. Pushing that down a little bit. There you go. Yeah, so it looks like I'll be able to put 2 seats in this Jet. Which is good. I mean, it's going to be large. There's no doubt about it. Because using those seats right now for scale, you can see, and I have large hands. You can see that, using that seat for scale, you figure there's going to be 2 of those in just the cockpit. So, the cockpit area is going to be, that long. And so that means the overall Jet is going to be pretty good size. Just means I'm going to have to slice the fuselage into a bunch of pieces. Hopefully, the wings will fit on most people's printers. Let's get a rough estimate here. Looks like the overall length of the wing is about 334 millimeters. And that's going to be rough. May have to rescale the whole Jet and only do a 1-seater. Rescale the whole Jet down. I was sketching in my sketchpad the other day, which I don't know what I did with it. I was sketching in my sketchpad the other day some ship designs. Which is where my ideas start. I sketch some stuff out and get some rough ideas before I sit down. Sometimes, not all the time. Like this, I didn't sketch anything out. I just started modeling. But sometimes, especially things that I really don't know, how I want it to look at all, I try to give myself some ideas first. Take it easy, Mike. Thanks for hanging out, man. Yeah, I will get some rest after the stream. I will. Because I think I only slept about 2.5 hours. And it's not enough. Not enough. At my age, it's not enough. I could do that when I was a young man. I used to all the time. Back when I still had to work a regular, I worked 7 to 3:30 job, and I would get home from playing at a club at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be up and out the door by 6 in order to get to work. And so sometimes I would not sleep at all. I would just go home, take a shower, get my work clothes, and go to work. And it didn't bother me when I was a young man, but man, now that I'm middle aged, I can't do that anymore. Take it easy, Mike. Get some rest, man. And especially when I have a big crowd like I had last night, I pour it on even heavier than usual. So my legs, my feet, they're just they're done. Jumping up and down and running around on stage and whatnot. Because when you got a big crowd and the energy's flowing, and you're on stage for 4 hours, it essentially turns into a 4 hour aerobic workout. You'd think I'd be in better shape than I am. I didn't even take a shower last night. I got home after that long drive, and I was like, no, I'm just going to bed. If I'd have taken a shower, I'd only got 2 hours sleep instead of 2.5. So after I get off here, I'm going to shower, and I'm going to take a nap. Luckily for you, there is no scent associated with watching a live stream. Speaking of smelly things, where's my dog this morning? What he's doing? He needs a bath too. All right, so we've laid out a potential to put 2 seats in this thing. And I think join those together so that I can take a measurement between them. So many vertices. Just need to snag one though. It doesn't have to be exact, just getting a good estimate here. Segment. So if I have 40 millimeters between the edge of the seat, where are my calipers? So I have 40 millimeters between the front edge of the rear seat and the back of the front seat, or thereabouts. Is that going to be enough? Bust out the old calipers here. Turn them on. Zero them out. what I came up with was needing 36 millimeters. So that should work out just fine. Little room to spare even. So if I base the seats that I designed for this off of similar dimensions, should be okay. Hey, Matt Johnson. How are you doing today? Well, there's my dog. Have you been under there the whole time? I was looking for you earlier. So yeah, the measurement I got in a kind of reclined seating position from the back of the knee to the tip of the toe was 36 millimeters. And so if the seats are approximately 40 millimeters apart, that should be fine. That should allow for a figure in the seated position to sit in the rear seat. And then I don't have to worry as much about leg room with the front seat because I can keep this hollowed out up front here. After I make the instrument cluster here, I can keep this hollowed out so the feet can pass all the way through if they need to up into there. Although I probably will put some sort of footboard to stop them. To keep, if you move the jet around from the character sliding up into the nose cone. All right. Yeah, I haven't had any time to work on this stuff other than when I'm streaming the past couple of weeks. So progress has been moving slow. I apologize for that. I have been, when I do get a little bit of time, not only trying to, work on this, but I have a project I can't share with you guys yet in works too. But don't worry, when the project gets completed after the person that I'm working with on the project gets his content out of it that he plans on making, the design will go out to patrons and then eventually Thingiverse. So I think that's going to work. Looks like we have another inverted normal there, one there. Flip normals. There we go. All right. So, as I start designing the interior, should I just keep it simple and make the interior a one-piece snap-in unit that has the two places to sit in it? Or should I get intricate and make seats that can be pulled out like ejector seats? mean, does that add much to the play value of a toy if the like the GI Joe Sky Striker had seats that came out and they tucked a little plastic parachute in the back of the seat that always got ripped up and lost. But they tucked a little plastic parachute in the back of the seat. You could pull the seats out, and the little plastic parachute, while it was intact, you could toss the GI Joe in the seat in the sky when you were playing with it, and it would plummet like a rock to the ground because the chute never deployed right. It's one of those things that because it wasn't wasn't packed right, it would never open fully like it was supposed to. Although I will say, the 50th anniversary GI Joes that came out, one of them came with a parachute, and I've got it. I think it's in a box out in the garage, and it came with a nice actual parachute material parachute. And as long as you didn't get the cords tangled when you tossed it up in the air, it would deploy properly, and it would drop a little slower to the ground. It still didn't. It wasn't a gentle fall. It was, but I don't know if that adds enough to the play value to make it worth the added work. Or if I should just make a single piece shell that has the seats as just part of that shell. It would make it easier to print. You're just printing one piece and then gluing that in to the fuselage or snapping it in, depending upon how I end up connecting it. And you're done with it. It's fewer parts to print, and fewer pieces to lose, because that's another thing with removable seats. Well, I guess it's 3D printable, so you could just print another seat if you lost one. But it's like good luck. You can go on eBay right now, and because like I said, the 1983, it was 83 or 84 GI Joe Sky Striker had removable seats. Most of the ones you see on eBay, the used ones, are missing the seats. And maybe there's a market there for 3D printed, 3D printable replacement seats for it. Maybe I need to get my hands on a Sky Striker and take some caliper measurements off of the seats and design a 3D printable replacement seat for the Sky Striker. Because I'm sure there's some people out there that would rather have 3D printed replacement seats than no seats at all. And I haven't looked lately, but at one point people were trying to sell the seats for individually for as much as you could get a Sky Striker that was missing the seats. Yeah, replacement parts for Transformers are big too. Especially like their weapons and stuff. The small pieces that were easy to lose. There may be a market for making replacement 3D printable rollers for Optimus Prime, the little 6-wheeled car thing that went in his trailer. Yeah, and parts that break. The problem is, I don't know if 3D printed parts would be durable enough to withstand the stresses that a transformer has on it in the process of transforming. Now you could maybe make a replacement part that would do the job if you were just displaying it, so that it would look more complete and be able to stand on its own, things like that, if the legs were loose. Do they? But yeah, I know replacement parts in general for stuff is big, and you can maybe even take some of the some of the models, both Transformers, GI Joe, all sorts of stuff, He Man, whatever, um, and make custom parts. Anybody get into He Man when they were kids? Um, they're supposed to be. They're working on a Masters of the Universe movie, which hopefully will be better than the one that they came out with in 1987 with Dolph Lundgren. But the guy that they've already cast to play He-Man, I just don't see being He-Man. Noah something or other. Noah Centineo. He's not. I mean, I know these actors can hire themselves a personal trainer and dietitian and all that, and they can bulk up, you know, quick and get in shape and all that. But the dude is not big enough to be He-Man. All right, let's see here. Hopefully it won't turn into another one of those situations where I wish they would, leave my childhood alone. Although I will say I finally got to see the Bumblebee movie. I had been wanting to, and now that it was on Vudu for rental for like $2.99 the other day, I went ahead and spent the $2.99 and rented it. And I will say, it's the best Transformers live action movie we've gotten so far. And the opening scene when they were still on Cybertron, that scene right there, I would watch a whole movie like that in a second. That was fantastic. Verses. Delete faces. Joey, you're messing with the curtains again. Why are you always messing with the curtains? What the? No. All right, so there's the start of what I will make into the inner shell. I just need to decide Cool, Don. Yeah, I just need to decide whether that's going to be just model the seats into it as I do this inner piece, or if this inner piece is just a shell and then the seats are separate pieces and put some sort of slot or peg or something that the seats peg into, and then they could be pulled out. But then I would want to, if I was going to do that, figure out a parachute that could be tucked into the seat somehow, and for an ejector seat. Well, if I just keep it simple, I won't worry about it. I'll just go, okay, no, this is just the way they are. The seats are part of this inner tub. Oh, there's going to be instrument clusters and all that. This is just the start of the inner tub. I'm not going to stop there. Just going to have an interior in it when you lift the cockpit, and the thing that I'm debating is making the seats part of it or making the seats separate pieces. Right now I'm leaning towards making the seats part of it, and you just print this one piece, you slide it in, either glue it or snap it in place depending upon how the final connection works out, and that's it. It's there, it's done. One piece to print, one piece to assemble. With the nope, extrude scale. Hide the fuselage. Fill these edges in so that we've created a manifold part with some thickness to it. And we have some more parts with flipped normals. Bring the fuselage back. Okay. that. Okay. Now let's grab these bottom faces. Let's do this in multiple steps. Let's see. Extrude. Let's see. Y'all still with me, or did I lose you guys? Chat's being awful quiet. Maybe it's because I'm just sleepily doing this and not engaging you guys well enough, and I apologize. That's my fault. Or the traffic jam's fault, one of the two. I don't know. Half listening, I will take that. Because I'm only half awake. Alright, so let's see. Extend that out, that gives a place for the feet to go. No, we don't want the faces, we want to take just the edges here. Scale them out along the X. It'll give us a little width, and it should still slide inside the fuselage. Crap. Forgot to grab that one. Give us a little more width to stick the feet down in. Let's do the same there. That. Wait, what's tearing there? Are you using your air fryer, Vince? We haven't saved in a while. Let's save before I forget. Yep. He got an air fryer at that auction place he goes to for a really good price. Alright, so I haven't designed a connection point yet. But there you see a basic idea of, and I may still have to move some vertices around and give it a little more depth and things like that. But what I was talking about for an inner tub, and if I model the seats as part of it, it's one piece to print. Yeah, they had a good deal on one at a place near me that does, it sells stuff that had been like returned to the manufacturer. And they had a whole bunch of them. And most of them looked like they'd never been out of the package. And they were cheap. It's where we ended up buying, if y'all have heard of the Bissell Crosswave, we'd had one and loved it. And we ended up buying a second one at that store because they got a place where you can plug stuff in, make sure everything powers up and all that. And it was the Crosswave Pet Plus Pro one or whatever, which was better than the one that we had. And we spent like $230 on the one that we had and loved. I got the upgraded version, the Pet Plus Pro, for I think it was $30. Couldn't pass on it. So now I have two Crosswaves. Because we have hardwood floors, and it cleans hardwood floors like nobody's business. It's awesome. I'm a fan. So what I'm thinking I'll do with this inner tub is when we slice apart the body for printing, we'll slice up here somewhere for this section, and I'll put some slots in here and it'll slot in, and then the piece that butts up behind it I'll make so that the piece blocks off the end of the slot, so once you assemble the two parts of the body together, it'll hold that slotted in. Prevent that from sliding back. Oh, well, I've about reached my limits today. We've been at this for an hour and a half, though. which is better than I thought I was going to do when I first woke up this morning. I almost skipped it altogether, and I'm glad I didn't. Thank you guys for showing up, hanging out with me today. We got a little more work done on the jet. It's progressing along slowly, but surely it eventually will be done. And I haven't made any more printing progress on, well, anything. I haven't printed in like 2 weeks. I haven't printed a single thing. I haven't had turned on a printer in 2 weeks. It's crazy. So I need to, maybe I'll slice something and start a print before I lay down. So slice something, start a print, take a shower, take a nap. I think is my agenda for after I end this. Right, an hour and a half is better than nothing. But the stream was limited to normally to 2 hours, no more than 2 hours anyway. So I think I did good to get an hour and a half in today, as tired as I am. I appreciate you guys very, very much, and look forward to getting more of these projects done and getting more work done on them. Y'all have a great day. Thanks so much for hanging today, and we'll see you in the next one, which hopefully I will be awake for. Take it easy, guys.